Well, Christmas, it's done, it's past, and Colorado is still hot, still gaining lots of traction, not only on the recruiting trail, but through the transfer portal as well, as they have decided to make several additions over the past couple of days. And we kind of have to talk about it, break it down, see who's left on the board, and see what Coach Prime is able to do with this 1-11 Colorado Buffaloes team. But before we get into it, please go ahead, hit that like and the subscribe button. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments below because, Coach Prime, he's blowing my mind, and I'm sure he's got to be blowing yours too. So, over the past couple of days, Coach Prime, Sean Lewis, Tim Brewster, Charles Kelly, this staff, they have been putting together a pretty formidable team and a team that we expect to potentially go out there and compete, win 8 to 10 games next year. Yeah, I said it. I said it here first. Because they've kind of been cleaning up in the transfer portal, but they have silently, and I say silently loosely, been able to start gaining talent through the transfer portal because signing day is past, early signing day at least. So the majority of players have already put pen to paper. And now you're starting to see Colorado go after those guys that I told you, if they weren't signed on the 21st, expect that Coach Prime and this staff will be attacking those players. And so far they have. They gained a commitment yesterday on Christmas, which was a great Christmas present for Colorado Buff fans, from the 3-star, 6'2", 180-pound quarterback out of Douglasville, Georgia, Cason Wiseman. Now, Cason Wiseman was originally committed to Kansas and decommitted from Kansas on the 21st of December. And one of the things is when you watch Cason Wiseman, you see that he really does his checks downfield, looks at those progressions, and if the pass is not there, he makes it work on his feet. I think he's really going to be able to succeed in the RPO game. That's just, when you watch his film and you watch what he's good at, you think that's really what he's going to be able to succeed. If you look at what Idrin Ivans over at 247 has basically said about Cason, he said what thing he's got to work on is the negative plays, right? And he has to be able to learn from those instead of letting the negative plays get the best of him. But I definitely believe, sitting behind Shedeur, having Sean Lewis there, and then also having Coach Prime, listen, I don't think it's going to necessarily be a problem. He's going to figure it out. He's going to be able to put it together. The big thing is here, you're getting a winner, and you're getting a winner that can put up the stats. In 2021, in 10 games, he completed over 62% of his passes for 2,035 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. He also ran for 289 yards and 8 scores on that as well to help Georgia to I think it was a 6A playoff. So that's pretty impressive. You're getting a winner there, potentially a future quarterback. Then you guys got a commitment from, pretty top player out there. 4-star, 6'2", 190-pound wide receiver, Omarion Miller, number 245 player in the nation, number 32 wide receiver, previously committed to Nebraska, decommitted on the 2nd of December. He had crystal balls for Nebraska, LSU, and then, of course, Colorado. He has a pretty good frame and size. One thing that you're going to want to see, though, from Miller is you kind of want to see him maybe add on some mass to be able to put a little bit of strength on that body. He might be, at this moment, maybe a smidge undersized, but like I said, with the good frame, he can add on some mass, and he could potentially be that dude for you at the wide receiver position. The dude is a straight baller. He has a lot of good top-end speed, and he has the ability to go kind of win those 50-50 balls in those competitive situations. So this is a guy where Colorado wins him, and it's a pretty big win. And then you look at what they were able to take in the transfer portal, and first off, you guys get a wide receiver that you guys have been targeting for a long time, a guy that, we've kind of been calling to end up at Colorado, but it's the sophomore wide receiver out of South Florida, Jimmy Horn Jr. In 2022, he had 37 receptions for 551 yards and 3 touchdowns, averaging a little, almost 15 yards a catch. And in 2021, stats are very similar. 30 receptions, 408 yards, average of 13.6 yards, 1 touchdown. Listen, the dude is going to be able to give you production under this high-powered offense that Sean Lewis is going to be able to bring. And this is a guy, like I said, that you guys really needed to win. This is a guy that Colorado needed to be able to go out there and land. They did it. Big win for you guys. Love what you guys are getting in Jimmy Horn Jr. But there is I think, the biggest win of the day that Tim Brewster, a guy that we've had here on the podcast, that you guys got. And that was, and I'm probably totally going to butcher this name, so I apologize for that in advance. Sadu Traore? Sophomore from Arkansas State at the tight end position. Last year at Arkansas State, he had 50 receptions, 655 yards, 13 yards a catch, 4 touchdowns. His longest catch was 51 yards. This is a position of need for the Colorado Buffaloes. This is the tight end position. Now, Tim Brewster, being the elite recruiter he is, you would expect that this is going to be a position that's highly recruited for the Colorado Buffaloes, especially with, the guys that are in the transfer portal and potentially who could still be out there in terms of who's not committed. Because I look in the transfer portal and you've got the 5-star tight end from Georgia, Eric Gilbert, that's there. And then you go look at uncommitted guys in the player rankings for 247, and you've got the number 1 tight end in the country, 5-star Deuce Robinson. Now, currently it's a flip of a crystal ball from USC to Georgia because Deuce Robinson says, well, baseball is important to me. I get it, but realistically, I feel like you kind of got to pick, especially in today's day and age, you got to pick one sport. Because as we saw with Kyler Murray, wasn't going to be able to play both sports. So it's probably not likely. Even some of the most elite college coaches don't really like you playing 2 sports. You still see Texas and Alabama in the running also for Deuce Robinson. So that's also something to be watching is how does Colorado do when the elite schools are there? Do they back down? And that's what I'm going to be watching. Additionally, Walker Lyons, the 4-star tight end out of Folsom, California, that has crystal balls favoring him to go to Stanford, he's still uncommitted, unsigned. And so this is a guy that I would definitely be watching to see, all right, where does he land? Does he land at a place like Georgia? Does he land at a place like BYU or USC or Utah? Or does Tim Brewster come in and try to steal him under the grasps of all of these other teams? It's going to be something interesting to watch. And for Colorado to land a top 150 player like this, I guess you can say top 120 because he's ranked number 114 nationally, that would be tremendous, especially at the tight end position. Again, where we've talked about it, you guys need depth. You guys need to be able to add more guys there. When you look at what Walker Lyons has, he has a really good built frame. And I'd be curious to see how his development and evolution goes at the tight end position, where maybe he could potentially be able to block and be able to provide a little bit better depth there as well. So there's definitely options for you guys at the transfer portal and on the recruiting trail. Not super worried about that. And I'm really interested to see what Tim Brewster is going to be able to do with this tight end position. And I'm going to talk about this a little more because I'm impressed by this hire, along with a lot of the other hires that Coach Prime has made. Because Tim Brewster, if you guys remember, he coached Kyle Pitts at the University of Florida. So he has the ability to not only recruit elite talent, but he has the ability to develop that talent and put them in the league, and not just put them in the league, but put him so high up there that it's the first of many. Kyle Pitts was the highest drafted tight end of all time. That's incredible. And I guarantee you, he's not better than some of the tight ends in the league, like George Kittle or Travis Kelce. So that's impressive. That's just impressive as it is. And I think recruits will take notes of that. It's a pitch that Tim Brewster, I'm sure, is going to be using, especially when he's coached guys like Antonio Gates, who is a future Hall of Famer in the NFL. Y'all are in good hands. Y'all are in great hands. We've talked about it in previous videos. Guys that you should be looking at in the transfer portal. Colorado has made some tremendous strides in terms of getting the guys from Jackson State that we expected them to get. But there are still some recruits on the recruiting trail that are available, like the 5-star or the 4-star cornerback, Fentrell Cypress. I still think you guys need to take a highly touted quarterback to help challenge Shedeur a little bit, create a little bit of competition in that room. Iron sharpens iron. You know, we still got Hudson Card, Grayson McCall. I expect those guys to probably go to a place where they're going to be a starter for sure. But, you know, I would like to see Colorado get in on some of these recruitments. You've still got the defensive lineman, the 3-star or the 4-star defensive lineman, Braden Fisk out of Western Michigan. You still got Jahad Carter, the 4-star safety from Syracuse. There's still lots of options. Dante Cephas, he still only has crystal balls to end up at Penn State. He has not signed with Penn State. He's not there yet. So that's still a wide receiver option for you guys, and one that I think you guys should go out there and land. Another one that I'm interested to see, and let's see if he's landed anywhere, because I haven't heard anything about it. And, yep, it hasn't landed anywhere. Trey Sanders. And the reason why I say this one is interesting is because he has a lot of interest to end up at Colorado. He wants to go play there. He was a 5-star running back out of high school, out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. And he was a guy that was highly recruited by Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma. A lot of people wanted him. And, yeah, I wonder what's taking so long. Here. I know that Trey Sanders has had some injuries in his career, which is kind of what has derailed him to be where he's at now in the transfer portal. But, yeah, I'm kind of curious about this one. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. You guys think Trey Sanders ends up at Colorado? Pretty interesting. But let's talk about where you guys are at in terms of a total class ranking. And we'll break it down like I normally do on the recruiting side, and then we'll break it down in the composite with the recruits and the transfer portal folks. So you have right now in the Pac-12 the number 6 overall class. You guys are 4 points behind taking the number 5 class, and you guys are still a little while away from catching up to old Washington and Utah. Once you get to pass Utah at number 3, I think the gap's kind of too far out for Colorado to get it at this point. But for Colorado to end up at number 4 or shoot even number 3, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, and here's why, and we will break it down right here. There are still several options that we have talked about at the position for Colorado to go out there and take. You've got Chimdi Ono, who is the 4-star offensive tackle, 6'6", 270, another guy that I think is going to be able to fight in the trenches for you guys. And again, you guys have heard me say it many times, I think the offensive line is a position that you guys really need to be able to focus on in the transfer portal and on the recruiting trail. I love the guys from Jackson State, and I love that they're able to bring those guys in. I just don't think that they're going to necessarily be built to fight in the trenches at the Power 5 level with a lot of these folks. So I'll be curious to watch and see how that one ends up. You guys additionally are going after Cameron Brandt, the 3-star defensive lineman, Caden Jones, another 3-star offensive tackle, and CJ Turner, the 3-star linebacker. But we talked about Walker Lyons out of Folsom, California. If you guys land that gives you 23 commits in this class, which would put you at a composite score of 223.89. That would put you guys at the number 4 class. Put you 2.5 points behind Utah. So you get 2.5 points, you're going to take the number 3 spot. And, I feel like it'd be pretty easy because I don't have Cormani McClain. Right? That's still a recruitment that is up in the air. And you've heard some rumors about it. We're not going to talk about those rumors here on the podcast just yet because we need to be able to validate those first. But if you guys land Cormani McClain, that puts you guys at 236 and 393, which easily gives you the number 3 recruiting class in the Pac-12, right behind USC, which is 264.79. And they have 3 5-stars in that class. So that's looking good for Colorado. Considering where they were starting before Coach Prime got there, where they'd be at now, yeah, love what I'm seeing. Love what I'm seeing there. Now, when you look at it as a combined what you guys have out of the transfer portal and what you guys have on the recruiting trail, you guys are sitting at 231.36, which that does put you at number 3 in this cycle. So that's pretty good there. You love what you're seeing. You love what you're seeing. And I believe it puts you guys top 25 in the country. You guys might need to fact check me on that one. But regardless, I love what we're getting out of the class for Colorado. And, again, there's still lots of options in the transfer portal. And there's still guys to hit the transfer portal after these bowl games hit. So that's definitely something that we need to watch. You're going to see guys hit the portal in the spring after, spring practices hit. They realize they might not have a spot on the team. So there's still a lot of opportunity for Colorado to continue to build on this class. One thing is, and we said it with Tim Brewster when we did that interview, which was USC is the model. They showed us that a first-time head coach for that program can come in and make a difference and turn around the program and, potentially take them to a college football playoffs first year. Now, that's not what we're saying for Colorado. The expectation should not be a college football playoffs, but I feel like we should say Colorado could win 6 games. That should be the expectation, is 6 games. Everything above that, it should be all candy. So go ahead, jump down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think about the Colorado recruiting class as it sits right now. Where do you guys feel like this class is going to land at the end of the 2023 cycle?